Hi and welcome to Jagee's Cookbook. Now this time I thought of showing you a very requested, it has been requested to me a lot of times to show an eggless chocolate cake. Now there are a lot of people who probably are allergic to eggs, or either, they don't like eggs, especially there are people who complain of cakes which have an eggy smell. Although my cakes never smell of eggs. This particular cake is totally eggless. So it's also good for those who are totally vegetarian or vegan, because it has, again, no eggs. A very strict vegetarian will love it. And also, it's the apt cake when you don't have any eggs in the house. And this is exactly how it started off. I had to produce a chocolate cake for one of my friends, and I didn't have any eggs in my house, and this recipe just came up, and it's a lovely recipe. Very, very easy, totally very relaxing. So let's see how it's done. So first of all, what we have to do is we have to preheat the oven to 180, okay, for 10 minutes. Okay, so let's just preheat the oven, 180, and let's get on. Now, what we need to do is, well, I'm trying to do the muffin method, which is easier. What we have to do is, I'm going to measure out all the dry ingredients. That is, okay, flour, all-purpose flour, cocoa powder, and the leavening agents, which I have out here. We need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Look at the loveliness of the flour. So 2 level cups. This is 1. Need 1 more. Okay. There. Don't need this anymore. Next, we need half a cup of cocoa powder. So 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then half a cup of cocoa powder. Obviously, it's a chocolate cake, unsweetened cocoa powder. Half a cup of beautiful, brown, lovely cocoa powder. Now what you need is the leavening agents or the rising agents. We need half a teaspoon of baking soda. Half a teaspoon, should be a level teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 level teaspoon of baking powder. Now, the ingredients, the dry ingredients once more is 2 cups of all-purpose flour, half a cup of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of baking soda. All these, I'm going to sieve it in. So that we get a lovely light brown powder altogether. Sift it around 3 to 4 times. The more you sift it, the more air you incorporate into the dry mixture. And also, it uniformly disperses the actual rising agents. So some people, or some recipes, just indicate that you just have to mix it with your spoon or a ladle. But I insist that you sift it, sift all the dry ingredients together, at least 2 to 3 times. So that's why I said mainly because it distributes all the dry ingredients uniformly, and also it incorporates a lot of air into the mixture. So we actually don't want a dense mixture. Okay, so that is done. Okay. I've done it 2 times, but you do at least 3 to 4 times. It's better. Now what we need is, we need to mix all the wet ingredients. I've got around, well, I've got a whisk, and that's all I need actually. 100 grams of unsalted butter, which has been melted. Okay, these are the wet ingredients. The dry ingredients have all been sifted. Into that, we need, well, around 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. That's more than enough. Then we need around 1.5 cups of caster sugar. 1.5 cups of caster sugar. Okay, that's for the sugar. Okay, that's it. What you have to do is, it's not it, we need actually 1/2 to 3/4 cup of yogurt. Okay, before you actually add the yogurt, try to blend the sugar and the melted butter. Okay, it's a very, very easy job. All you have to do is just blend it. Because it's melted, the butter is melted. There's no, well, it's not a big, laborious task or anything like creaming the butter when it's soft. It's just very, very simple method of mixing the sugar, the 1.5 cup of sugar, with 100 grams of melted butter. By the way, this is 100 grams of unsalted. Now, what you need is 1/2 to 3/4 cup of yogurt. I'm going to add 1/2 cup of yogurt first, and then I'll add a little more if I need it. Okay. I'm going to mix this into this beautiful mixture. So the yogurt is instead of the eggs. Usually after creaming the butter and the sugar, we add eggs, either whisked or 1 by 1, anything. But here, instead of the eggs, because this is an eggless chocolate cake, I'm going to add just yogurt. Okay, so all the ingredients are strictly vegetarian. Lovely mixture. It's something like, well, just like the creamed butter, sugar and egg mixture. Okay, and then let me check for my cider vinegar, which is all the way inside. Yes, a tablespoon of cider vinegar, just a tablespoon. Okay, now if you don't have cider vinegar is the best for chocolate cakes. If you don't have cider vinegar, just add the normal vinegar. If you don't have vinegar, vinegar at all, you can actually go on and add lime juice. Okay, now if you don't have anything, you have to use sour yogurt. If you don't have that too, you can't make an eggless chocolate cake. Okay, so this is done. What I'm going to do is actually I'm going to make it more, to make it more light and soft and beautiful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to again sift this dry ingredients, or the chocolate mixture, this brown, beautiful chocolate mixture, into the actual wet mixture. So these are the dry ingredients, these are the wet ingredients. All I have to do is actually amalgamate both of these mixtures together. Lovely. There you go. Just give it a little mix before I put the rest. Soon you'll get a lovely chocolate batter. Now mix everything together. Now my chocolate batter, my glorious, lovely eggless chocolate batter is ready. All I have to do is now transfer it into a baking pan and then transfer it into a preheated oven. Preheated, well, to 180. Okay, and once that is done, we're on the way to chocolate heaven. So now, before that, I'm using a glass, square dish cake pan. So what I've done is actually greased it and lined it with grease-proof paper or butter paper. Now you have to do this, otherwise it will stick, because otherwise if you're using a non-stick cake pan, it's okay. Anything else, glass, aluminum, steel or anything, you have to. There is no exception. You have to grease it and line it, or at least grease it and flour it. Okay, now I'm going to slowly put, now this is thick cake batter. Pour this beautiful brown mixture, chocolatey mixture, into, now this is a small cake, so you don't need a very, very big cake pan. That's why I chose a square. If you've got a spatula like mine, it makes things easier. Okay? Just coax it to the sides carefully, because this is a thick batter. Now if you find it very, very thick, you can keep on adding buttermilk or yogurt, whatever is convenient enough for you. Or you can add a little bit of milk too. But this cake is a bit thick. But don't make it too thick, because if it's too thick, it will not be soft. Okay. Now, all I have to do is put it into the preheated oven, and this is on the way to be, well, one of the most best eggless chocolate cakes this is going to bake. Once it's baked, okay, it'll take 35 to 40 minutes depending upon your oven, then we can ice. Now, while that is baking in the oven, let's get on with our icing. Again, obviously it's eggless, so it's a strictly vegetarian type of icing. Very easy also. You can use this type of icing for, well, different type of cakes too. Very, very simple icing. The main thing is you don't need icing sugar. Then you don't need, well, a whole lot of butter. And I, in fact, get intimidated when I see a lot of icing sugar and a lot of butter. I can't imagine myself eating all this fat-laden calories. So this is a very easy take on the frosting. So what I'm going to do first is light the fire. So to make the frosting, okay, it's better not to use a transparent a glass bowl, because it's easy to stick. It sticks very easily, but I want to actually show you. I want you to see the frosting. That's why I actually used a transparent one. Now, 25 grams or 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Okay, in that goes. First, put the butter. half cup of sugar. Okay, half cup of sugar. Around, well, half cup of cocoa. And we need 1/4 cup of cream, okay, fresh cream. It can be fresh cream or it can be milk, okay. If you don't have fresh cream, you can use milk, there's no problem, okay. So use that, 1/4 cup. Okay, so the ingredients once more is 2 tablespoons of. Now, once all the ingredients are in the pot, we can actually turn on the heat. Now, once again, I'll tell you the ingredients. I think I made a mistake when I told you about the cocoa powder. The cocoa powder is not half cup. I think I told you half cup. It's not half cup, it's 2 tablespoons. Okay, 2 tablespoons of cocoa, 2 tablespoons or 25 grams of butter, half cup of sugar, just granulated sugar, and 1/4 cup of fresh cream or milk. Okay, now let this heat together and make a lovely, glorious chocolate icing. Yummy. Now, to this add, well, a pinch, a tad of vanilla extract, not too much. Okay, this is just an icing. Okay, and let this heat through and become a lovely, glorious, lovely chocolate icing. Keep on stirring it and let the sugar actually melt and the cocoa and everything mix together to make a lovely chocolate frosting. Now, this is ready, our chocolate frosting. Oh, yummy, yummy chocolate frosting is ready. Now, it's okay. It's a bit runny, okay? It's not like the usual chocolate frosting like butter chocolate frosting or chocolate ganache, where it's a bit thick. This will thicken as it sits, okay? So you don't have to worry. And also, it needs to be a little bit, a little wet or a little runny for us to coat the actual cake. So once the cake is done, we are going to frost it. Now my whole house is smelling of chocolate cake. What else? I make chocolate cake. It's done. So let's go and see how it is. Okay, now I'll just keep it out here and let it cool. Okay, once this is cool, we can pour well, you don't have to wait it for totally cooling it. You can, wait for 5 to 10 minutes, demold it, or you can upturn it, and then you can put the hot frosting, or the warm frosting, not the hot, the warm frosting on top of the cake, and the actual cake will soak up. Now, a thing about this type of cake is, the eggless cake is, any eggless cake would have a hard crust on the top. Well, the top would be kind of crusty, but inside it would be nice and soft. So what I'm going to do is, once it's cool, I'm going to demold it. Now, to demold it, I'm going to use a square type of plate, or a plate, yes. And I'm going to, right now, demold it. Okay. Now, what I did was, this is a glass square cake dish, square cake dish. If it's non-stick, you don't have to bother about greasing it and lining it. But I have greased and lined this because it's a glassware. And because it's glassware, it's very easy to stick. Okay, the cake would stick. Take it out. And what we have to do now, this is greased and lined. To take out all the paper, that is the grease-proof paper. Like I said, because it's glassware, you have to be very careful. Okay, now my cake, eggless cake, chocolate cake, has been demolded. Now, remember our frosting? It has thickened a bit. Now, we gently pour the sauce or the chocolate. Lovely. Lovely. And don't spread it with anything. It'll find its way through. Just help it along the cake, and it will actually coat the cake like a brown coating. And actually, this dripping of chocolate looks so yummy. It's something like chocolate ganache, but it does not contain any chocolate. It just has cocoa powder and sugar, no icing. Okay, you can add more or less. Finally, what you can do is decorate it any style you want. You can put chocolate strands or colored strands, chocolate chips, anything you want, or even cherry, or you can eat it just like this, which is really tasty. I have some colored strands, which I am going to put just for decoration. Okay, I'm just going to put it on the side. Now you can put chocolate all over, or you can put it in the middle. Like I said, it's all according to you. So my eggless chocolate cake is done. Now you can notice this frosting is absolutely so smooth and so totally workable, because it actually sets on the cake and it provides a base for whatever you want. So you go try it. So those of you who can't have eggs for some reason, no excuse, you can have this eggless chocolate cake from now on.